Good morning and welcome to ApocaflixNOW, our main movie show on ApocaflixMovies, where we talk about the latest things in film, television, and whatever the hell we want to talk about. I'm your host, Jacob Bartley, and we are coming to you live from Sacramento, California. This is Mr. Brian Avolicino and Jake Berlin, of course, over there. It's just a three-man crew today, but it kind of worked out because we are doing a spoiler review of Birds of Prey here in a few minutes, and the other two guys, Keith and Gio, have not seen Birds of Prey, so it kind of works out in our favor that way. But how's everyone doing today before we get started?
I'm feeling fancy with these.
Fancy?
We got all kinds of new equipment, the swing arms, and mics are in our faces for now on.
Yes, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I was in a good mood until... All right, so look. So I ordered a Sideshow collectible. If you don't know what those are, they're like roughly like $250 to $300 figures. Some are more expensive than that.
Yeah.
And they're collectibles. They're adult collectibles. They look very real, but they're 1/6 scale for the most part.
Adult collectibles?
Yes, but
yeah.
not in the way you're thinking, Brian.
No. No, you didn't even go there.
But anyway, so like, you know, they're delivering it, right? And this is a $300 product. And
we're going to have to bleep out the company, Jacob's going to say.
It came yesterday when I wasn't home, so I have to sign for it. And okay, fair. I didn't even know it was delivering that fast. So I sign up for an account so I can get up-to-date notifications. And they told me it's coming at 1:30 to 4:30 today. Perfect. Shooting Apocaflix now in the morning. Gonna go podcast, grab some lunch, head to the apartment, wait for my Megazord Sideshow collectible that comes apart into the individual pieces and you can put it back together. But and I just got a notification that they tried to deliver it again this morning. What is that?
And tell them the time that it is right now that we're filming.
Well, yeah, it is
Pacific.
11:14 a.m. in California. So it doesn't make any sense to me because, like, in this day and age, like, we're all so on the go, on the run, very busy, and those type of tools are supposed to help us plan around those things. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty anxious that my $300 product is just out there right now, like it's sitting in the back of a truck.
Yeah.
And
for the second time, this guy probably was like, "This guy's not here again." He just tossed
about it. Yeah, and it doesn't
make
any sense to me. Like I don't know, and I've never had any problems with that company before. So
neither have I. I mean, they're typically pretty good about it.
Jacob, they knew how excited you were, and they wanted to bring it to you early, and that's why.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna get down to the bottom of it though. It just
typically
just happened right now.
Typically with that type of I don't know, I guess object, that price range, they usually have you sign for it. So it's interesting that
why.
It's just going to be sitting there if they do deliver it for the next couple hours.
Can you imagine if it was raining right now, they just left it on your doorstep?
I've had Amazon packages like that. I mean, I do have a cover over my balcony, but still, like, I've had Amazon packages wet, but those are not that expensive of items, you know? So I don't know. It's fine. So we're
all very lucky that he's not dealing with this right now over podcasting.
Yeah.
Because it would probably come close.
Oh, yeah.
A hot toy Megazord that transforms into different pieces.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
That will more than likely be on the show next week.
As long as I get it, I'll be all right. All right, well, let's talk about Birds of Prey. Spoiler review.
Yeah.
Warning. Full spoiler review.
Jake, we need you to dub in like a woo 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 for spoilers.
We've all seen it, so we're gonna dive into it. It's probably in the title of this episode. So
it is the thumbnail.
Yes. So let's get into it, guys. I guess first initial thoughts of the film. We haven't really talked about it. Maybe we've seen each other's social media reactions, but
I just saw yours. It tickled your little heart,
yes,
huh?
It did.
I posted our live stream on Twitter, and the first thing that pops up is your tweet.
Oh,
tickled your little heart.
Oh, yes, because
your cold, dead heart.
Let me explain that a little bit. So I love the Harley Quinn character, and there's just certain things in it. It's like I don't expect the writers and the creators of the movies to like be so locked into the comics, I guess, and I should have known better because there's just certain things that I'm like I did not expect. So, for example, the beaver in the apartment. I didn't even. Brian said it was in the marketing, like the posters.
It is. It's in the posters.
I didn't notice it. So, and I was surprised they're using the hyena, which was really cool. And I was like, cool, we got the hyena. That's awesome. And when I see the beaver in the apartment, I was like, oh my goodness, you should have seen the grin on my face. I was so happy.
I'm glad you explained that to me because I didn't understand the beaver until
in the comics, she has that beaver in her bedroom and it's always talking to her and it's always talking crap to her and judging her for things.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's a move Margot Robbie made.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel a lot of the small like things that you're picking up on, nods. Like the comic book stuff, is her.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised because I guarantee you she's been reading. Like since she started playing the character, she's been reading Harley Quinn comics like crazy.
At the bottom.
Oh, that's right. I should have noticed that. So, anyways, like especially, I mean, I started reading Harley Quinn with the Rebirth run. So I started reading it since then. I never read anything before that. But and so in that, like, she always damn beaver's there, and it's always, and even like when things would happen, like just like in the movie when her apartment gets destroyed or attacked, she always made sure she grabbed the beaver and took him with her. So I love that, and like the ending of the movie is really cool, who she's with and who's in her car. So, but not just that. Overall, I really liked the movie. I really did. I do have some issues with it, but overall, I'm very, very satisfied with this movie.
He did say yesterday that he had a mild heart attack when the hyena died.
I mean,
died then came back.
So when that happens, I was like, oh my goodness, no. But then when they didn't show him, I knew he wasn't dead.
Yeah, there was a party that knew that he was going to come back at some point.
See, now I thought he was going to be dead, and that was their way to save money on the CGI or whatever.
But they barely showed him again.
But I mean, So, but
I know why he should have been in a fight at the end. That's why they did.
He would have gotten shot, and then you would have been crying. And
no, hold on, no. You don't know why I'm saying no. No one's getting shot in this movie. That's my problem. There's no way.
Well, it's the end battle when they're sitting in the tunnel of the amusement park and they're like 10 feet away from each other and nobody's getting shot.
Yes, and even
it's like they're stormtroopers.
All the goons are gonna go after them inside the carnival thing with no guns. No way.
Also, there's also that scene as well when they're walking outside of the. Was it Booby Mile? I think it is. Booby Mile is the amusement
park.
Trap Mile. Booby Trap Mile. Yeah, Booby Trap. They're walking out and they're like, oh yeah, nobody's gonna be standing out here. We beat them all on the inside. And they start getting shot at. It's like, wouldn't you think that there would be people standing outside still and then all didn't come in?
Looking down at the and they know that wasn't all of their goons. Yeah. But also look, I do love this movie overall, but that was my main pet peeve with it. It's like, so even when Harley goes into the police station, there's no way. Those are trained officers.
They have firearms on them.
Someone's gonna shoot her.
They have firearms on them.
They don't care that she has a fake, beanbag gun. They would have killed her. Yeah. But whatever. We got to suspend our belief, right? But that was my major issue with the movie. Was the gunshots and stuff.
Mine is this. I mean, kind of comes back to DC, but like, I don't know if anything is connected anymore, if we need to start looking things as individual, because in my head, I don't understand some of the moves they chose to do with characters.
Like who? I mean, this is spoilers, so you can go all out.
Okay, so in my head, I'm like, okay, you just killed off Black Mask and can't use him again. You just killed off Victor Zsasz. You can't use him again. Well, those are two good Batman characters.
They are, but we have to remember, look on the flip side of what Marvel does. They kill off a lot of their main characters, big villains in one movie too.
Yeah.
And DC is more focused on telling single stories at the moment anyway.
Yeah. And then you kind of just took the Cassandra Cain character and just made it.
Well, that's the one move that a lot of people were frustrated with. Is that they made her a kid.
So
they
kind of changed much about Cassandra Cain.
She's kind of a badass. Yeah. But she's not a kid in
what does
the
she
comics.
Do in the comics.
Let me look it up real quick.
Let
me look it up. Not too much, but I don't know. I personally would have loved to see the Black Mask character keep going. He was he was great, entertaining.
At the same time, I was like, this guy got to die at the
Really?
Like, no, look, of course I want to see Ewan McGregor play him again because he was fantastic.
They killed him.
Oh, he's an evil human being.
Yeah.
He's an awful. And so I was with Jacob. He had to die.
Yeah.
He had to die.
Really?
Yeah.
Best death ever.
He died.
Death ever. Like, we didn't do best kill this year for Apocaflix Awards, but if we do best kill next year, that might win.
Literally, you saw the arms and stuff just go poof.
So first of all, Cassandra Cain, that might have not worked out the way she thought it was going to work out. She could have got blown up.
Yeah.
So that's bravery on her end, but also, Harley is a badass with the way she fights. I love the action in this movie, especially with Harley Quinn. And for those people who are going to like say, there's no way she can fight like that. She was in gymnastics her whole life and grew up doing like competitive gymnastics, and she's an acrobat. So she translated that skill into the ability to fight. And her style of fighting, we've never seen in a superhero movie before. Because like you have like maybe Black Widow, right? She's very trained, like real fighter assassin. Margot Robbie or Harley Quinn is using her acrobatic skills to fight, which is so cool because it makes those scenes where like she's rolling with the rollerblades in front of the car and flips over believable, and it makes those action scenes where she's flipping around believable.
Well, yeah, do me a favor, pull this closer. Pull that closer, just so we can hear you a little bit better.
Oh yeah.
So the scene in the police station when they're in the back of the evidence room.
Oh yeah.
You see her flipping around, and when she flips the phone up and then kicks it on Renee Montoya's face. The way she uses the bat, or when she flings the cocaine at him and everything. Like it's not your prototypical fighting style, and in a real world aspect it wouldn't work, but for this world with the backstory she has, it works, and on screen it translates very well. Oh yeah, especially in the end scene when she's on rollerblades and doing all the things that she does.
She was on rollerblades on the spinning thing fighting.
Yeah. She's very
and Margot
talented.
Robbie said that was literally
like she's very, very talented.
Like that was crazy.
Yes, it's awesome. It's the way she fights is, like you said, we've never seen it before, and I think it works out very well for this type of movie and the way that this universe is set up inside this world. Yeah. Because she complements. You have Harley Quinn, who kind of uses like bats and mallets and uses her legs a lot, and then you have someone like this version of a Dinah Lance who uses her hands a lot, and she punches the crap out of people. Yeah. And then you have Huntress, who is just, again, very kind of acrobatic in a way, but she shoots the gun, right?
It's not a gun.
Well, she does use a gun. A gun and a crossbow. It's not a bow, it's a crossbow. That's what she was saying.
Crossbow killer.
Yes. And so they all complement each other very well, and it's very cool to see them kind of work together. That final fight scene when that giant tracking shot of everything happening was by far the best part of the movie.
And the hair tie.
Yeah, the hair tie was definitely the best. Everyone's freaking out about that on social media.
It's so true, like how these women fight
how
in
girls lend each other hair ties all the time.
Well, but it's like you always have these fight scenes with like female actresses and their hair's going everywhere, and then
it's like, totally a Harley move. Hair tie?
Yeah.
Like it's just a Harley Quinn move.
Maybe the funniest line in the movie is like, when the F does she have time to make a shoe change?
Yes.
Because us as fans would wonder the same thing, but they called themselves out.
It's also just a callback to the comics, because things like that happen in the comics all the time.
And they didn't show it, but she totally went around a corner real quick and changed it into those.
Yeah.
And it worked out, because if she didn't have them on, she couldn't have chased the car at the end.
So I really, it took me a while it took me until yesterday to kind of really say that I enjoyed this movie.
You came out looking like you were like...
It sat with me for a while, and I tried to kind of wrap my head around why it was sitting with me. I think the reason why is because it took them so long to become the Birds of Prey.
Yeah,
it
honestly was very slow paced at the beginning.
Yeah, and
after like the first 20 minutes, it was very slow paced.
So it really felt like I was watching a movie. So like a lot of times these days, like whether it's Star Wars or maybe even DC does it too, they do like these 5-book comic book arcs, right? They tell a story in like 4 or 5 different issues. That's kind of how I viewed the movie. It very much felt like they were separate stories in one larger story.
Yeah.
I think that's why it took me so long to kind of get my head around it, because it's not that it felt like it was 6 different movies in one. that's just how it was structured. And that's why I think I like it so much, because it takes chances on certain things.
It feels like a comic book.
It does feel like a comic book. Exactly. It feels like you're literally flipping the pages on certain aspects. You know, like one scene you're watching Black Canary and Black Mask, do their thing, and then the next one, all of a sudden, it's randomly seeing Harley Quinn inside a police station. Or it's like then they see a flashback of her understanding why she gets to the police station.
It's almost kind of like when she was like, "Wait a minute, how did we get to this?" It's like she flipped the pages back.
It's totally structured like that, and I think that's why it took me so long to kind of get used to it, because it's different and it's just unique compared to everything.
Told like a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, like the flashbacks and everything, and then it kind of caught itself up a little bit, and then we kind of went forward. But I think the one major issue, I guess, is that they weren't together for the entire thing. It was literally maybe 15 minutes of them together.
Thing. It's not a Birds of Prey movie.
It's not. I think that's why I'm frustrated, because they shouldn't have called it that.
No. They should have called it Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
I don't even think they should have called that. I think it would have been way too much of a title, but they should have called it The Emancipation of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. That's what they should have called it.
Or literally just the Emancipation of Harley Quinn.
Because they even solidified it at the very end. When the Birds of Prey name comes up, Harley Quinn's not even involved in that.
Yeah.
She's not in that team, and so she's not a Bird of Prey.
And neither is Cassandra Cain, so it was just those three characters were just the Birds of Prey.
It should have either been called straight a Harley Quinn movie, flat out, or you combine like Harley Quinn's and the Birds of Prey, or I like the funky title, The Emancipation of one Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
It goes straight wacky with the title.
Because that's the thing. Birds of Prey is the first thing in the title, so it makes you think it's a Birds of Prey movie, which it's not at all.
Well, and the TV commercials now are saying Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
Well, they're talking that, but the logo says Birds of Prey. And movie theater marquees, it doesn't say The Emancipation of Harley Quinn. It says Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
And so people are thinking, and it's not Birds of Prey.
Well,
it's not a Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah, my ticket stub literally says Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's going to affect, like if they would have just called it Harley Quinn or something, a more simple title that indicates that this is a Harley Quinn movie, I honestly think it might be doing better.
Well, it's being hurt by, I think it's being hurt by the marketing a little bit, kind of confusing people. But I honestly believe that this movie could have been rated PG-13, minus a few scene changes. So, and the dialogue. There's a lot of F-bombs. Well, yes,
the dialogue
you can take back on that.
Totally
I think
agree.
this movie could have been the same exact movie, but been much more successful if it wasn't rated R.
I think
this isn't a necessary rated R movie.
To be honest, the only things that got it rated R was the cursing and probably that cocaine scene.
No, I wouldn't even. I would say it's the hyena eating the leg.
Yeah,
that's an R-rated scene.
That's the thing.
That's an R-rated scene.
You don't have to do much to this movie to make it PG-13.
100%.
And that's probably hurting the box office as well, because you know how many high school girls probably want to go watch this?
Oh yeah, I work at a high school, and they all
I have a coworker who
it.
wanted to take her daughter, and then she's like, "Just let me know how it is." I told her, "I was like, you can't take your daughter."
And that's the thing. Now parents can't take their kids to this.
Now,
even though people were taking their kids to see Deadpool.
Now, didn't Deadpool do like a re-release in PG-13?
PG-13, but it was a completely different structure. It was a narration of Deadpool.
And people didn't like it. I never saw it, but a lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. It is what it is. It was wacky, and I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. I liked the one thing that did bother me was Renee Montoya was in it more than Huntress. And that
Huntress wasn't in it very much, which I was very disappointed by.
In it.
I loved everything with Huntress, the backstory, the storytelling, and even when they showed that flashback of that mob family being killed, I was the little girl didn't get shot.
Here's the thing, though.
Before they told us that.
With that is, if you know, I mean, they clearly didn't use her as much because they wanted you to be shocked that she was the little kid. But if you know anything,
you know who she is
about Huntress. You saw that coming from the beginning. Like, I knew that was happening from the beginning. And to me, that kind of bummed me out because they didn't use her for that shock value of, oh, she's the daughter. But like, if you know anything about that, you knew exactly who that was.
What do they call her? The crossbow killer?
The crossbow killer, yeah.
So the reason why I'm so disappointed in her not being there, well, there's two reasons. One, I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead is like one of the greatest working actresses today. I think she's so underrated, and I hopefully this role kind of catapults her.
She was so awkward.
But that's the second reason.
They
is because
did that
her,
on purpose, though.
Because her personality is so different compared to the others, and she's so awkward. I would have loved to have seen that play out more in scenes, because the backstory they gave her, she was isolated with men her entire life. She was isolated with men her entire life.
Because Harley Quinn says, "Oh, she was great at being an assassin, but sucked at everything else."
Exactly.
Meaning socializing.
I wanted to see that more.
Yeah.
And the last scene when they're at the Mexican restaurant and she's kind of having she's laughing when she's not supposed to laughing. I wanted to see more of that.
Yeah.
And with it goes back to not seeing this group of women together. When they got together, I was pumped. I was pumped.
Yeah.
But there wasn't enough of that. There really wasn't enough of that.
I love the part where she kills Victor Zsasz and she's like, "All right, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm gonna go now."
That,
exactly.
Her whole life's complete. She's good.
Exactly.
That's it.
And
the fact that she didn't really care for the diamond.
Oh, she didn't care about it at all.
No,
well, I also don't.
There for.
Well,
but it's
I don't know
the
if
Bertinelli diamond.
I don't know if she knew about that.
That's true.
I don't know, because nobody seemed to know about that other than Black Mask. So
that's true.
Well, Harley knew. She was telling us.
Yes,
but she didn't care about that either. She just.
Well, she was narrating it from after the fact, though.
Yeah, but she knew eventually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But no, I love the way they portrayed Huntress. She should have been in it more for sure. But the way that she's acting the role, she's doing that on purpose because she's supposed to be this oddball.
Yep.
And we saw it in the trailer where she goes, "Sure."
Yes.
I love that line. And she was probably, other than Harley, probably my favorite character in the whole movie. I did like Black Canary, but not as much as Huntress.
It's funny because I went into this thinking I wasn't gonna like Black Canary, and I walked out loving Black Canary.
I like Black Canary a lot.
There wasn't a character I didn't like. I'll say that. I liked every single rendition of the character.
Yeah.
I think that they were all standouts and we haven't seen a lot on the big stage of Journey Smollett-Bell, who plays Black Canary. She's a brooding beast in this movie. When she punches, people feel it. You feel it. Her costume is terrible at the end of the movie, but whatever. That's just beside the point. Yeah, and I like Renee Montoya as well. I think Huntress was great. She's probably my third favorite because my second favorite is by far Black Mask.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor.
I loved
You
Victor
could tell
Zsasz.
he had so much fun playing
He
this
was
role.
loving it.
He had so much fun playing this role.
I loved the relationship of him and Victor Zsasz. How they
So
were just
weird.
so
It's
weird
so,
together.
They made Victor Zsasz very much of a creeper, which played into it very well.
When every single time, he, what was it? When they were in the club, and he goes, "Is she making fun of me?" Yeah, she definitely making fun of you.
No, he antagonizes him. He totally antagonizes. But that scene was hard to watch. Man.
Oh yeah, that
ripping the dress off the woman.
Yeah,
that was tough. I mean, they started off strong by literally tearing the dude's face off in the family, cutting the faces off.
That's I thought he was just cutting his throat.
Yeah,
and then it was I was like, "Oh my god!"
And then it comes back later on by seeing the actual guy who it is. The storytelling aspect of it was really cool. Yeah. I think he was great, and it is a bummer that he died, but he did need to die.
Yeah,
but I think that he served this story very well.
I never thought that he was going to survive this movie
or
be in another movie.
Not with a Harley Quinn in it. There's not with a Harley Quinn in it for sure.
No, and that's the thing. It's as soon as he was cast as the villain, I was like, oh, cool. I was always imagining as a one and done. Mm-hmm. And that's totally okay because he was amazing. It's hard for me to see Ewan McGregor in a villain role, but he played it so well that I didn't even
It was the perfect villain for him.
Yeah.
He's not the menacing, super serious, I'm going to kill you, don't test me type of guy. He's the jokey, the one who kind of has fun with it. This exact type of role.
But his character is a psychopath.
Well, and it played in very well. When he put that mask on, I was like, oh, it's going down. Yeah. It's going down.
The mask was
an
dope.
Emotional wreck. He's all over the place emotionally.
And the mask was really cool.
The mask was
really cool.
It was.
Oh my god, I just lost my train of thought. I forgot where I was going with this. Skip me.
Yeah,
I liked it though.
What do we think about this? Is probably the major last thing, but how do we think they handled the breakup of the Joker? Everything with that.
Good. I was fine with it
because that's a big part of the story.
Oh, I remember where I was going with this, so come back to me. Sorry.
I liked it, but I felt like there was something missing not seeing the Joker.
You saw it from side to his face.
Flashbacks, yeah.
Well,
and it wasn't. They shot new scenes, but it wasn't Jared Leto, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the thing. I understand why they weren't going to bring Jared Leto back for this role because they're scared or something. But I liked it. They did the best they could without having the Joker actually be in it.
I think it made sense, but it was it's not that it was glossed over, but it just happened very quickly. It was like a very, very sudden turn. As far as like when she was with him, and then all of a sudden she wasn't.
Yeah.
I liked when she blew up Ace Chemicals.
Yeah, I mean, well, we saw that in the very first trailer, but the whole scene played out very well.
That was cool. And I think, what a lot of people are going to connect to is how heartbroken she was and how long it took for her to get over it. And I thought that was very humanizing for the character, because we think that she's such a strong character, and she is, but her weakness is the Joker. And she was devastated. And I love how she just kept saying, like, I'm going to be fine. And then she's like crying her eyes out.
I don't think anybody in the history of the world has ever drinking more alcohol than Harley Quinn has.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That montage of her in the club and like, my God.
She took the 5.
My God.
It's so funny though, because the one thing I've been wondering since the trailer was, who is she crying over in that scene when she's like reaching out? I was like, oh man, one of the Birds of Prey is gonna die. That whole scene was awesome. Like she's running and it's in her bra, and she's like, we're gonna have this one day. Yeah, it was great. That was great.
It made me want a breakfast sandwich really bad.
Well, it looked incredible. The whole montage of him making it is like, that's what the definition of this movie is. Like that's how this movie is.
She's just sitting there.
Yeah, it's like
that's the thing. Like it might seem super random, but she loves food.
Yes.
Harley Quinn loves food. She's obsessed with it. She's always talking about it.
She robbed the store of the food.
Oh, that scene was great. That scene was great. Yeah.
The thing, I remember what I was going to say. The thing that actually shocked me probably the most was the fact that they talked about the other DC movies. Where she said like
how she saved the world and all those things. Well, yeah, I mean it's in the same shared cinematic universe.
I know, but I would have thought at this point like DC wants to kind of like step away from it. Hence why they were doing that with the Joker. Hence like other things.
Think they did. But correct me if I'm wrong. When they mentioned it, wasn't it within like 10 seconds of like one sentence they mentioned it, how like she saved the world, did all this, and it was gone.
Yeah,
right. She was like, nobody's like me.
So it was essentially just like it was essentially like a dialogue cameo of all those movies, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically,
I want to make sure I'm remembering it.
I'm just surprised that they even mentioned like
I did it in Aquaman too. Like
they talk about Bruce Wayne or something.
They talk about how they defeated Steppenwolf and all that stuff.
I understand, but like I would have thought by now, like it seems that they're going towards like singular movies at this point, that they would have wanted to distance themselves from the team up type movies, especially with the new Suicide Squad coming out. That surprised me. Like I thought maybe they would do subtle things.
They are, but as far as they'll go is subtle references like that.
I think that they're leaving
she's gonna be in the Suicide Squad though.
I think think they're leaving it.
I'm so happy
I think they're leaving it open for a reconnectivity later on down the line.
Yeah, it was funny though because I did when she goes, "Hey, I know that guy," and it's the Captain Boomerang poster. I was just like, I love that guy.
I do agree. I think one day we will go back to the connectivity. And I do think one day we will get another Justice League movie, but probably far down the line because I think like Wonder Woman, Shazam, and Aquaman would play so well on screen together. Can you imagine Shazam and Aquaman together? Like
Harley Quinn and too.
How he's always in Shazam, he's always bashing Aquaman.
So I was doing research on this yesterday because I was just very interested. But in the comic books, Joker and Harley Quinn broke up. They're not together anymore. And I think it was yesterday they actually revealed that DC created a new girlfriend for Joker called Punchline. Like there's a new girlfriend coming down the line. And so they're talking about how Harley Quinn has kind of turned the table and she's like helping out Batman in certain stories and stuff. So I'm not saying
at the end of the movie, the after credits scene, where she goes, "Did you know Batman was?"
I'm not saying that she's going to be in a Justice League movie one day, but I could very much see Warner Brothers giving Harley Quinn the Deadpool factor, where she's an anti-hero, and when she's really needed in that situation, she does help them. And I would love to see that because she's that type of character.
Well, that's basically what they did in this movie. They made her anti-hero.
She could very much be WB's Deadpool.
No, she's a badass mercenary.
And a dog walker.
I love the business card thing. Just throughout the whole movie. And she's like, "Can you reach in my pocket?" And it's like, it's the business card.
There's so many things that we haven't been able to talk about that just Harley Quinn does in general that I loved with in this movie.
I agree with you though. Like she's not gonna be in a space battle with Superman.
No,
but she'll she could totally help Batman with something.
She may not be at this level because Black Widow's an Avenger, but she can very much be a Black Widow type of character where she's the human on the team.
Yeah.
And she does stuff on the ground.
And the thing for me is in Suicide, even though I loved her in Suicide Squad, I never believed that they even needed her because they never established that she was a great fighter in Suicide Squad. They tried to play that, she uses her psychological angle to help the team, but it didn't really work in Suicide Squad. After this movie,
it works.
I totally believe that she can first go out and fight alongside those people, just like Black Widow does. Black Widow doesn't have any powers, and she could definitely use her mind games and her psychological aspect.
I can't wait to see James Gunn do stuff with her.
In that movie, gonna be awesome. Especially
that movie's gonna
building off of this.
Well, and that's gonna be a telling of where the future holds, not just with her, but with the universe. Like if he uses her in a specific way, we're gonna know going forward where her role is.
That'll show us okay, they can do the shared cinematic universe thing and make it work. And I trust James Gunn. So, do we even know anything about that movie, plot wise or anything?
Nope. It just said it's going to be more grounded. James Gunn has said it's going to be much more of a grounded type of movie.
He's for sure going to kill off at least 75% of that cast, and it's going to be hilarious.
I wouldn't go that far.
He has lesser named people for a reason.
No, I know, but I wouldn't say he's going to kill off 75% of them. That's a big number. It's a big number.
There's that cast is like 20-something people.
Yes, but they're not all going to have major roles.
That's what I mean. They're going to get killed.
We'll see.
Who was the guy in Suicide Squad who gets his head blown off in the first?
Harbinger. No, not Harbinger.
The guy who swings on things.
Yeah,
it's funny because I wanted to say
they're all marketing him part of the team, and he just gets his head blown off right in the beginning of the movie.
I'm gonna look it up.
Something with,
it's like Slingshot or something, but that's not it. It's something like that. But no, I freaking love this movie. All right, look, I'm gonna say I have not seen Bad Boys for Life, but honestly, I think this is the best start to a year in movies and that I can remember. We're barely.
What else have you seen?
We're barely in the beginning of February, so we're like 5 weeks in, 6 weeks into the year.
Yeah,
and
there's been 3 great movies.
So Bad Boys for Life, I haven't seen it.
The Gentleman.
But also The Gentleman.
Gentleman was
great.
Amazing.
Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. I love this movie. I don't remember being in the 6th week of the year and having 3 movies that are like a lot of people and universally loved. So I'm excited for this, and hopefully the box office doesn't harm it too bad.
Slipknot.
I said Slingshot.
Slipknot. Yeah.
Hopefully the box office doesn't hurt it too bad, but this is another win for DC. I mean, at least critically, and if you count these string of wins, people are going to have to stop talking crap about DC because
I think they've already reached that point.
Yeah, but there's still some fans who
is this 3 in a row successful as far as critics go? Correct. Outside of Joker. The DCEU, right? Aquaman, Shazam, and this?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 3 in a row critically. You
last time I saw
Joker, that's 4.
It was 86.
And then if Wonder Woman 84 does what we think it does.
And if this can make a little bit more money, because right now it is struggling pretty hard.
But its budget was only $84 million.
Yeah, but it's only going to make like 45 opening weekend. And then you count into the fact that it might drop next weekend.
Have we released in China?
It's R-rated. China's not going to hold on to this. That's the big problem.
No, it should have been PG-13, to be honest.
And I think they now know. But if you haven't seen it and you go support this movie. I put it up on Twitter. Support this movie. Because it's not just because it's R-rated or that it's an all female cast. Like it's a good, fun, wacky movie. It really is.
Very unique for comic book films as well. And I'm definitely going to be seeing it a couple.
I thought about this morning going to see it sometime this weekend again to kind of just get a little bit more refresher on it.
Take Gab to see it.
I told her she doesn't seem interested in it, but I think she'd enjoy it.
Tell her it's a badass chick fighting movie.
Yeah, but we'll see.
No, for sure. Yes, please go support Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. All right, before we move on to our movie news rundown, just want to tell you a little bit about our other podcasts and our podcast channels. We're at ApocaflixMovies on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you can find podcasts if you prefer listening to us in audio format. And you can find our shows ApocaflixNOW, the Padawan Podcast, Nerd Nation, and the casting table. I almost said casting call. Casting table, as well as once the Fandalorian comes back, we'll also do the Fandalorian Club.
We'll probably do something for the
October.
Clone Wars.
Yes,
we'll probably do
sure.
something for the Clone Wars.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Oh,
2
man.
weeks.
Yep.
Oh, man. And then also we have our
Less
yearly
than.
rankings up and our Apocaflix Awards videos up as well. And tomorrow we are doing a little Oscar live stream of us watching the Oscars and reactions. We're doing prediction ballots, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have food, maybe a little bit of drinks, and just have some fun and watch the Oscars. So please join us for that tomorrow if you're a fan of those things. And with that being said, Mr. Jake Berlin, what do we have for the movie news rundown this week?
Not a whole lot that happened this week as far as news. We have a couple trailers that I threw in there as well to kind of wrap it up. But obviously the big one we talked about on Nerd Nation, or Brian and Keith did quickly. Sam Raimi might direct Doctor Strange 2. It's not official as of right now, but apparently he's in final negotiations to jump on board that project. Lionsgate officially greenlit a Knives Out sequel, and Rian Johnson also talked a little bit about that as well. Some details about the film, which is expected and possibly going to be released in 2022, so quicker than later. And then we have the first trailer for the Saw spin-off Spiral, which is the Chris Rock movie, and a brand new trailer for TheWayBack, the sports drama with Ben Affleck, directed by the gentleman from Miracle and Warrior, I believe. So those are our four pieces of news.
Yeah, you love that Warrior.
No, Miracle. Man.
No, I was gonna go through each one.
Look, any sports movie, I'm pretty much on board with. But I'll be honest, the first trailer for TheWayBack, I was like, okay, like I'm interested in this. Like I'm really interested. The second trailer hit me. Like it just brought that like that sports drama feel.
It gave me a Coach Carter feel, and I love that movie.
Yeah, but the thing with Warrior and Miracle compared to like Coach Carter is that it brought this element of like emotion to the movie. And I know that Coach Carter has the emotion. I totally get that. But you know, Miracle, based on a true story, obviously a major part in our sports history. And Warrior, I mean, you have that brother combo that is like on a different level. And then, you know, Ben Affleck playing a recovering alcoholic who was like a star back in the day, you know, teaching kids. It very much has that. We've seen this story plenty of times before, but the fact that it's coming from the director of Warrior and Miracle, it just tells me that this movie is going to bring a different layer for me personally.
I like that. What kind of caught my attention during this trailer was that he was only good at basketball because his dad was pushing him to be good at basketball, and then once he stopped doing that, like that whole, like a lot of people go through that. So it's like that kind of, when I caught that, I was like,
my dad didn't love me. He only loved me for what I could do.
He found out I was good, then he started liking me again.
Yeah.
Which when
I heard that in the movie, I was like, or the trailer, I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's like the way that plays into his alcoholism and everything. And the thing about this is Ben Affleck has struggled with addiction, and he's been in and out of rehab. And when I heard about this movie, I was like, man, that's like, so you know he's bringing his personal emotion to this film as well. And I am just, at this point, like Ben Affleck is, I don't want to say actors, but just as far as
I love him as an actor.
I love him as an actor, but I don't want to say he's one of my favorite actors of all time. But he's one of my favorite people in film of all time. When it comes to his writing, his directing, and his acting, I'm just a huge Ben Affleck fan.
Totally.
And anything that he's in, I'm gonna be interested in. And it's funny because I remember when I was a kid, people used to just, you know, make fun of Ben Affleck because he did a string of bad movies, and the Geely thing with Jennifer Lopez is considered one of the worst movies ever. But he's come a long way from that. And yeah, so this movie is gonna have an emotional feel. It's about basketball, just about sports in general, which is really cool. And I think it looks good, to be honest. And it's weird because, you know, these movies, it looks like a movie that should come out in December, but it's coming out in March. So it's, you know, you're not expecting it to be an Oscar movie, obviously, but I don't care. I just want a good movie, and it looks like it is.
So it's directed by Gavin O'Connor, who also did The Accountant with Affleck.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah.
Man, they have a good they have a good repertoire.
There's a lot of those
a
lot of those people who are, you know, doing kind of combinations and whatnot
like
with each other.
Wahlberg
And it also stars Janina Gavankar, who did Iden Versio for Battlefront 2.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. I did recognize her. She's his ex-wife, right?
Maybe. I think she might be like a girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think she might, or maybe like an old flame or something.
I think she is just the lady that has drawn an interest to him or an old friend.
I thought they showed like pictures of him and her, and
they might have been like a high school fling, and maybe his alcoholism got in the way or something.
As soon as I saw her, I was like, I recognized her right away. So I'm actually really looking forward to that movie. I want to talk about Sam Raimi potentially directing Doctor Strange too, because I was a little bummed to hear that Scott Derrickson was off.
Yep.
But it's for a reason. I trust Kevin Feige. He hasn't had a lot of drama with directors and everything like that. So it's for a reason. They obviously, and like you said when this happened, this literally is because of creative differences. Like we hear that every time a director leaves something, but this literally, and I don't know for a fact, but I just know, knowing Kevin Feige, they just couldn't agree on what they were going to do with this
Derrickson
movie.
wanted to do a horror movie, and Feige doesn't want that in the universe. He doesn't want a full-out horror movie.
I wouldn't say Feige. Probably Disney doesn't want.
No, Feige's got full control now.
I know, but I'm saying, like, he knows Disney's not going to fly with a horror movie in their genre.
Yeah, Bob Iger still has to approve it, but I do think it was Kevin Feige's choice. But the funny thing about that is, if they're going for Sam Raimi, who's mostly a horror director, I think this movie is going like Captain America: The Winter Soldier is a spy thriller.
It's going to have a horror element.
Movie. This is going to be a horror movie, a superhero movie that has a horror element to it.
I wouldn't say horror. I'm sticking with scary.
The main subgenre is going to be horror.
What I would say is it's going to feel like Don't Breathe, where it's a thriller.
I love that. Thank you.
Where that still has that element of surprise. It has that like creep factor, but it's not a horror movie.
Give me that. And I love that movie.
This is a big movie. This movie is going to define a lot of things in the MCU.
So there's actually another piece of news that kind of came out about this yesterday. Marvel brought on the writer of Loki, the writer of Loki, to do another pass on the script.
So that means they're not just adding a new director, they're changing a lot of things in it.
And there's also the gentleman who worked with Derrickson on the first movie in the script came out and said yesterday on Twitter that the two of them actually never wrote a script for the sequel, which I don't believe personally.
For Doctor Strange 2?
For Doctor Strange 2. I don't personally believe that. So that he posted on Twitter and people are kind of running with it. That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me that they wouldn't have written a script. That doesn't make sense to me at all.
Scott Derrickson has been working on a script for Doctor Strange 2 since Doctor Strange.
Because he hasn't directed a movie since Doctor Strange.
He's been working on it for years.
Yes. So, but that came out. But yeah, I mean, look, this is very exciting. I mean, Sam Raimi's a name. He's a name. And
he obviously directed the Spider-Man original Spider-Man trilogy.
Yes,
did he?
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Look, his track record. I wouldn't be
surprised if you didn't know that.
Shame on you.
His track record isn't the greatest, but he's Sam Raimi, and he knows what's supposed to be done. And I think with Marvel as his backing, it definitely helps. He's produced an incredible amount of good movies. We mentioned Don't Breathe. He did a bunch of other horror films that he's been backing guys
he's
with.
He's a lot older now too.
Fede Alvarez. He does a lot of the Fede Alvarez movies. He did Fede Alvarez Evil Dead remake that he produced. That
he's been attached in some capacity to a lot of in capacity with The Grudge.
Yeah, and he directed the original. You said the original Spider-Man. He directed Oz the Great and Powerful, Drag Me to Hell.
I actually like Oz the Great and Powerful.
So do I. Yeah,
that movie's fun.
But I think the connection with Marvel is the big thing, because we've seen plenty of directors who we questioned before step in and do a great job. And
it's different from what they usually do. They usually get an indie filmmaker who's up and coming, and this is the exact opposite.
And so I think it's a good pairing. And like we've mentioned before, he has an eye for the horror element, and I think he can bring something to it.
Yeah.
Personally, I would have loved to have seen Fede Alvarez be on board to brought this, and then he produced it, because they work together a lot of the time.
Yeah,
and Fede Alvarez did Don't Breathe, which is why I'm going to that.
That movie's so good.
I think, look, it's exciting. I mean, Sam Raimi's a name. He's stepping back into the world of superheroes, and it's also like people are running with it. Like, oh my God, is Spider-Man going to show up in this movie? Is Spider-Man going to show up in this movie?
The Morbius thing freaked everyone out when they saw the poster.
Yes. So
what if they've known about it for this whole time?
I think Tom Holland is going to be in this movie.
Probably.
That's not just coming out of nowhere. Him and Doctor Strange have a lot of interactions in the comics.
Well, they were in Infinity War a lot of the time.
Exactly. They know each other. Like, it makes sense, right? And there's a lot of things like...
Both in New York.
I used to watch I used to watch the most recent Spider-Man series on Disney XD, and there's an episode where he goes into the multiverse with Doctor Strange. So
I'm gonna make a bold prediction that just kind of while we were talking about this came into my head. I would not be surprised if this is how they drag the Netflix superheroes, the Defenders, in. Those are all New York characters.
There's a lot of things they can do with this.
How much would you
X-Men
flip
as well.
your effing mind if Charlie Cox gets pulled in through this?
I'd be
Yeah, don't even get me started for that.
just him and Jessica Jones.
I think that we obviously know that Scarlet Witch is going to be in this.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to go her. I think for the next however many movies they're going to play with her being a villain. I think they're going to play with that. But I'm starting to wonder if this movie will also or possibly be about him chasing down Loki inside the multiverse. Because he's doing all kinds of different things
and messing stuff up.
Yep, and I'm starting to wonder if that's what it's going to be
the
about.
writer from Loki is working on it.
That's what I'm starting to think.
That
I
makes
wonder.
sense.
That could be the string that ties Loki to all these. Because I'm
starting to wonder if he's jumping around doing things, and Doctor Strange is the guy that
ever since
watches
Thor
this.
Ragnarok, when Loki's like, "You fake sorcerer," and I always wanted to see them fight.
I'm starting to wonder if Loki's going to be the big villain in this movie.
Because
the old Loki, 2012 Loki.
Yeah,
that's what I'm starting to wonder.
That would make
sense. Hasn't
the one from Endgame.
Himself. Yeah,
that's what I'm starting to wonder.
Interesting, because I've been saying since the beginning, it's interesting that all of these Disney Plus stories have a clear connection to the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Loki, because Loki, it's just like, what are you gonna do with him other than just like showing him jumping around and doing it? That could be it.
It makes so much sense what you said, man, and now you got me so excited.
Interesting.
I'm also wondering, like, we know that at some point, Scarlet Witch is gonna lose her mind or whatever. I don't necessarily know if they're gonna go on board with that 100% where like it's over a span of movies. I think it might happen relatively quickly. Doctor Strange pulls her back and then the two of them might go after him. That's what I'm starting to wonder, like, because he's essentially goes like, look, this is happening. I need your help. Like, I need your help to do this.
Yeah. And Loki, I honestly think, and my only problem with Thor Ragnarok is that they depowered Loki in that movie. Because he's so much more powerful than they show him in that movie. Like, when Thor's holding him in the hammers, Loki could have got out of that. Like, they really depowered him. That's my only problem with that movie. So that's the thing. Like, you would think, oh, Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch going after Loki, that's easy. But it's not as easy as you think if Loki's just at his full power. So I would love that. And if they find a way to bring Charlie Cox into the MCU, I would be the happiest man on earth.
We know.
So real quick, Mr. Keith Barnes is in the chat.
Hey, Keith.
And he said Raimi is one of the kings of campiness. And then he also commented and said Strange said Loki was on his list of beings that were a major threat.
Oh, yeah.
So
true. Well, and you remember how... Oh, no. Keith. Remember how I was trying to tell you that Loki had that patch in the
time variance force,
time variance authority.
Time variance authority,
it's which is tasked with preventing changes to the multiverse and its timeline.
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you guys. I'm starting to think that Loki might be the main bad guy of Multiverse of Madness. I really do.
Two things, Keith. Get on board with Sam Raimi directing this movie. It's gonna happen. And did we spoil Birds of Prey for you, man? What are you doing?
I know, probably. It's in the title.
If he
clicked on it, so his fault.
He's almost like Gio, where he's like, I don't care that much.
I know, right? Real quick, I just want to say, Knives Out sequel. On board 1000%. Yes, sir. Love that that's
especially
happening.
with just the way they're doing it with just Daniel Craig coming back.
Well, I think
new
that
history, new characters.
I think that it's going to be Daniel Craig,
and his
Lakeith Steinfeld, and the other cops.
Yes.
So do I.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the three of them, which is they're all, and because the not Lakeith Steinfeld, but the other guy, he's in every Rian Johnson movie. He's like Rian Johnson's guy.
Oh, really?
And so he'll definitely be back.
He added a comedic fun element to that.
And Lakeith Steinfeld's just Lakeith Steinfeld.
It's funny.
He's great
too.
Yeah.
It's funny because I consider these the like good and successful version of
these are the modern day
on...
Agatha Christie novel.
I was gonna say the good and the done right versions of the Murder on the Orient Express type, because we're gonna get Death on the Nile this year.
And then the Spiral trailer, I think it looks cool. think it looks cool.
It looks interesting. I don't
Pass.
I haven't seen enough to for it to be different enough from Saul to make me interested. But I trust Chris Rock. Chris Rock is a genius, so whatever he's doing, I'm on board with.
Keith said it's okay. I turn the volume down.
During
Birds of Prey. So
see that Spiral. That is the definition of the movies I don't like to watch. Those types of the Saw
if they were just making a new Saw movie and it was the same thing without Chris Rock producing and involved, I would not care at all. But the fact this movie wouldn't have been made if it weren't for him. He sought this movie out and got it made. So he has something creative in mind. So
absolutely,
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to our segment on this podcast called You Haven't Seen What?, where we challenge each other to watch movies. I was challenged this past week to watch Guy Ritchie's
This is going to work out
Snatch. Perfect. And Brian was too tired last night to watch it with me. He's an old grandpa who goes to bed early, so I went home and watched it alone. And I enjoyed myself very much. It is I felt like it was like, this is rookie Guy Ritchie, but not in a bad way. Like, you can tell it has his same identity that all his other films have, but it's him kind of finding his way as a director almost. And I don't know, was this his first directorial?
Let me look. I don't believe so, but let me look.
But this was obviously a while ago. This was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So you can tell he was starting to develop his identity during this movie, and it's almost like this is what was it, and then he mastered it with The
it was his second. The first one was Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Oh, yeah. I need to watch that too, but
this was 20 years ago, 2000.
It's totally a Guy Ritchie film, and you would think, if I didn't know this movie existed, I would say it would be so perfect if Jason Statham was in a Guy Ritchie movie, and he is in a Guy Ritchie movie, but I honestly expected it's a Jason Statham I'm not used to, he's kind of like maybe he was like the Matthew McConaughey of this movie from the Gentleman, and he was not a fighter or anything. He was just a guy who's betting on, not betting, but he runs the illegal boxing matches and all that stuff. So he wasn't like his normal Jason Statham self, which was fine because it was a different character. He was a lot younger and things like that. I didn't know what to expect. So the only thing I've seen was the cover of the main poster, right, where they're all standing together. And it's called Snatch. So I thought it was a heist movie. And
that's what I thought it was.
There's
I would
certain
have been
elements to it that are heisty, but it's not a heist movie. And it's totally told in that Guy Ritchie way, where we were just talking about with Birds of Prey, where they're telling the story one way and then they re-show it and from different angles, from different perspectives. And
The Gentleman.
Do you remember the car scene in Snatch,
yes,
where they're driving and the milkshake hits the thing, and then you're like, what just happened? But then they show it from 4 different perspectives. That was hilarious. What the hell kind of accent was Brad Pitt doing? What the hell was that? I'm not saying it was bad, but
where is it from?
Alright, so they even say when they introduce him, they say it's not Irish, it's not British.
Oh,
it's
that's right.
Is it Mickey? Is his name?
I think it's Mickey. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
They're and before we meet him, they're I gotta tell you about his accent. It's not British, it's not Irish, it's just Mickey. And I'm like, what?
Mickey O'Neill.
That's their way of explaining how, because he was probably trying to do a British accent and he couldn't get it just right. Brian, you have to watch it just to see Brad Pitt do this accent. It is hilarious, and the thing is, they're self-aware of it. So that's, if they were trying to play it seriously, like he's doing a British accent, I'd be like, no.
Did you put the subtitles on?
Yes.
You needed them, right?
Yes. And so I did that, and I was so glad you mentioned that, because I could kind of hear what they're saying, but I just want to know exactly what they're saying. And there's British slang that we have no idea what it means, so it was very helpful to have that. Overall, it's not my favorite Guy Ritchie movie. I do think he's gotten a lot better as a director.
He's clean. He's crisped up his filmmaking.
But I'm so glad he made this movie, because it was this. I don't know. Well, I haven't seen Lock, Stock, and whatever.
Two Smoking Barrels.
But this added to him becoming the director he is today. So I really appreciate it, and it is a fun movie. It's not as cohesive as a lot of his other movies. I love the Benicio del Toro character, and it's I was following him, all right, cool, and then it's okay, so it's you think people are the main character, but they're not, and it's who is the main character in this movie? There really isn't one.
No,
in a way,
not at all.
It's just a whole series of events happening, and it was really. I love how Brad Pitt I guess it's kind of a spoiler, but it's not really too bad. How he's supposed to, cause so they're betting on the boxing matches, and he's supposed to keep losing in the 4th round, and he's not having that. Yeah. And man, knocking out people with one punch, like
what's funny, yesterday I was just scrolling through my Twitter, and one of my followers, or maybe someone retweeted it, they posted a GIF of Brad Pitt in the ring from Snatch. I was like, what a coincidence! Like someone just threw this up on their timeline.
It was like, this was definitely like him getting ready for Fight Club.
Yes, yes.
I couldn't stop thinking about Fight Club when I was watching the movie. But overall,
actually, I think this came out after Fight Club.
Did it?
I'm pretty sure. Let me see.
I think he might have was early 2000s.
No, this is 99. He did these back to back. Fight Club, then Snatch. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But we also don't know when they were filmed.
True.
They could have been filmed different times, but they came out back to back years.
I mean, they were filmed pretty close together.
Yes.
That's weird because I thought Brad Pitt looks a little bit older in
maybe they made him look like that on purpose.
Probably.
They might have made him look like that on purpose.
It was funny. It was totally a Guy Ritchie movie. Like, he does that thing where like Brad Pitt has his crew of friends behind him, and they're all just like, "Hey, man!" And like,
so good.
And they do that. He does that in every movie. He has a crew like that in every movie. And the guys, when they're in the car, and he's like, "Oh, he's a good driver," and then he like backs up into the van. I'm like, those types of things are just hilarious scenes. So I really enjoyed it. Maybe, I don't know, I was expecting it to be like this like major classic. Like, I thought I was gonna like it more, but I still really enjoyed it.
It's good. I'm sure Keith's gonna be glad to hear that. So we all are. Geo's
is the one.
Geo, I'm happy to hear that because I think Snatch is one of, I like it a lot more than some Guy Ritchie movies. So
really, okay,
yeah,
for sure. Well, with that being said, I'm going to be challenging Keith this week. I have a couple movies in mind that I want him to watch, but we're no longer doing it that way. All four of us,
we're making it more interesting.
All 4 of us are going to submit something that Keith is going to choose at random. So Keith, if you're watching this still, we're coming for you, man. You're going to be watching hopefully a great movie.
Yeah, and he won't draw out of the hat like he did last week because he's not here today. He'll just we'll find a way for him to randomly choose one.
Like with Brian, so you'll name them randomly.
Yes,
just have him choose
and he'll choose a number, and then he'll be reviewing that next week. So he'll pick mine. It's rigged. So yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's move on. Before we move on to our comment readings, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our other podcast that we do. So we do a Star Wars show called the Padawan Podcast. You can check that out. Our last episode, we chose a team to fight Palpatine, which was really fun. I watched that episode.
Yeah, I think it was my favorite episode.
Yeah,
I really do.
Super fun.
And I love the way it looks too.
Yeah, we should do more stuff like that.
It just looks
that
good.
Was fun. And we also have our Brian show where he hosts Nerd Nation.
No, I was like the Brian show.
Yeah,
what are we doing now?
Yeah, we don't even tell you about it. The Brian show. No, it's called Nerd Nation. It's our comic book and superhero movie related show. You can check that out as well. And we also do the casting table where we cast certain characters. Our most recent one was Hercules from the Disney animated show, or animated movie, but they did have a show as well.
You are correct.
We are now going to cast Kraven the Hunter for the Spider-Man universe.
There's some rumors about him possibly showing up pretty soon, so I think it's the right time.
It makes sense story-wise, and I'm sure we'll talk about that on the casting table. So please go ahead and check that out. And again, don't forget to watch our live Oscar streaming tomorrow. We're going to be watching the Oscars, making predictions, having fun. It's going to be a blast. Check us out there. And with that being said, the well-prepared Brian has some comments for us. Brian, what do we got this week?
So I would say about 95% of the comments were in regards to Fast 9.
How many views does that have now, that trailer reaction?
It's up to over 30,000.
Oh, wow.
So Keith responded. He said Snatch is the Guy Ritchie movie.
It's out. Yeah, I can't argue against that.
Fast 9's at 40,235.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
All right, what are our comments, Brian?
So, for the most part, like I said, coming from Fast 9, I'm going to just grab a couple other from something else. We have someone rewatched The Land Before the Time, 30-year anniversary trailer. It was Josh Edits is the name.
I don't know who did that one.
It was me and you, Jake.
Oh, okay.
Where you bagged on me because I haven't seen any of them.
I love that movie.
And said, this is nostalgia on a different level for me. That's what he said.
I watched Land Before Time was one of those movies when I was a kid where my mom just put it on a VHS over and over
just put it on and left you alone.
Yeah, she's just like, here's 2 hours of my life I can get back. I would sit in front of the TV and watch that movie constantly. Like, I love like Littlefoot and just all those characters, man. It just... And you know, it's funny because parts of it as a kid can be very scary.
That's why I had never watched it.
Yeah, and but yeah, it's one of those movies.
Yeah, still scared.
The commentary's definitely right. I mean, it's nostalgia. Definitely, when you look back after so many years have passed, it's definitely one of those movies.
So there's probably like maybe 6 to 8 movies where, as a kid, I probably watched them like seriously over like 50 times.
Yeah,
and this is
the
one
original
of them.
live action Power Rangers movie. I watched that.
Yeah, that's
till
probably
my
one of them,
VCR
to be
burned.
honest. Yeah, and that movie is terrible, even though I love Power Rangers. But The Land Before Time is one of my favorite animated films of all time. If I made a top 10 animated list overall, it would be on there.
It'd be in the top 5, possibly top 3 for me.
Oh, damn. I don't know about that high for me, but definitely top 10, which is saying a lot because it's not a Disney movie, right?
No.
Who? I don't even know who did it.
Let me
Was it
look.
Paramount or something?
We should do that. Top 10 animated movies.
Yeah.
Now that you got me thinking, that's kind of fun.
Not just, hopefully not all Disney films.
I know, right?
There's going to be a lot on
my
there.
1 through 4
The
is
Prince of
gonna be
Egypt
Toy
will be on there
Story.
for me.
But yes,
Damn.
I love The Land Before Time. I need to revisit that, man. It's been a while.
Need to go back in time and watch that.
1988. Let's see.
Ooh. Before we were born.
I know, right? It
Barely.
is. Oh my God, where is it? Production Universal.
Oh, there you go.
They have the grip on the dinosaur movies.
And they made
really
so many
do.
sequels too, but the first one is nothing touches the first one.
The first, I think maybe Land Before Time 2 is okay.
Yeah.
But
I just don't remember them as vividly.
no, because I don't think they were released like the original was.
It was probably like
And
straight to video.
Also, I think the second one came out like far after the first one. Let's see. Yeah, it was 5 years later.
Dang.
So it was so they went 88, 94, then they went 95, 97, 96, 97, and then they started making them in 07. There's a 2016 version.
You know how Disney is doing these live action adaptations? What if they did Land Before Time Lion King style?
Dude,
that would be crazy.
they'd have to do the rights to it, but
Yeah.
No, not Disney. I'm saying
Universal. Yeah. I mean,
No,
well,
I'm
they
saying-
did. It's called Jurassic Park.
I guess, yeah. Oh man, I
So
missed that movie.
I know, right?
I'm just gonna. I mean, there weren't very many.
Yeah,
that
you don't
were-
have to do like 4 Fast and Furious ones. If there's a lot of Fast and Furious ones,
there's a good handful that
Okay.
I want for Fast and Furious. Weston Vaughn said lovely stuff to our breakout performance of the year award for this year.
Nice. I'm glad people are liking those.
Yeah. And then before I get into Fast and Furious, the last one was I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. Graphic Skins was this is for Morbius trailer. Subscribed awesome breakdown and noticing the actors' voices like that. I know you know your movies. Great job.
That's when we noticed Michael Keaton at the very end before he came on screen.
Yeah,
that's what he's talking about.
because he talked before.
He talked before. Yeah.
And then what does he do? He like winks or like does like a thing with his mouth or something.
Yeah, it's the
does a
Michael
thing.
Keaton classic.
Yeah.
You know, he's so weird on screen
Yeah.
sometimes. So
A lot of these, Jake Berlin, you're gonna have to answer for.
okay.
But before we get to those ones, Maxim Hopka Suicidal said, I love that you point out the positives about this movie, this Fast and Furious. We all know that it's not the same as when we first started watching them, but you still enjoy it for what it is. So thank you. By the way, you being so pumped for it really gets me pumped up. I love it. I think there's going to be a lot of twists in this movie. I think they want us to think John Cena is the villain, but I feel like it's going to be someone else. Just my opinion. Love the reaction.
A lot of people are thinking that Han's going to be the villain.
Ooh.
So what
That would
they're
be
saying
interesting.
maybe the first hour of the movie is with John Cena going after him, and then they have to work together. Because
It's a classic Fast and Furious move.
Also, it's his brother. So are they gonna really make his brother be a villain? Like,
Especially
a
when
true
it's all
villain?
about family.
I don't know. 'Cause
Well,
it's so
it always
predictable, though.
happens with these movies. Jason Statham was a bad guy, then became a good guy.
Yeah.
Like it happens. Like
John Cena's going to just eventually
that's
turn
how it
into-
happens. But a lot of people are thinking that either Han's the villain or that's not actually Han. Like maybe it's like an evil twin brother or something.
Yeah.
I mean, anything's possible in these movies. Like like you do the Mission Impossible like face thing.
But then the justice for Han thing would not make sense. Like that's not justice.
No,
that's worse than justice.
I think it's really Han. and I think
so do
he's
I.
back as a good guy.
Which I love because the Han character is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great
And it's-
character.
The thing is, like, I could sit here and get upset about the fake death thing, but I don't care about that. In the
It's Fast and Furious.
movies.
Like we're gonna enjoy. Like we know what the
Yeah.
movies
You guys
are.
are
Let's just go
perfectly
enjoy it.
segueing into my next
Let's
comment.
just enjoy it.
So
I'm
perfect,
excited for this movie. To be honest.
Yeah.
perfectly segueing into this next one. Cameron, spelled different. Cameron Roundtree put, I hate when people say now Fast and Furious is not realistic, so it's dumb to watch, but it's a movie. Movies are not realistic. Sometimes they're like an 85% movie of unrealistic stuff.
I mean, very true. Yeah. Very true. We have you said it about Birds of Prey. We have to suspend our belief.
Yeah.
We have to go into the theater thinking like our world doesn't exist, and we're jumping into that world, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Another one. Finally, someone pointed out Lucas. This is one we've been getting a lot. Finally, someone pointed out Lucas Black. I've watched multiple reactions. Nobody's
Where is he in the trailer? I can't.
So it's right. So it's in between. So when they first debut the Pontiac Fireball rocket,
okay,
and then the immediate scene after,
he's like this.
The Asian guy who's doing it, who built the machine they're talking to, Lucas Black pops in.
Oh, okay.
And the Asian gentleman is from Tokyo Drift.
Oh,
part of his crew.
Okay.
And then Lucas Black's right there. So they're thinking that either he joined the team or they go to him because they figured out.
It's not just a one scene cameo.
Well, so a lot of people. There's a comment in that we got on the trailer said that that person thinks that we see them in the hills. Mm-hmm. They think that they go to him to learn how to drift.
Oh.
And that they teach Dom and everyone how to drift instead of just drive. And that's when that scene kind of happens. So maybe it's like a 20-minute scene of them learning how to drift, but that's the only moment he's in the movie.
Yeah.
So
and they're going to be like, are you sure you don't want to come? He's like, no, I got to stay back.
Yeah,
like,
I know, right?
No, go with them.
I got to hang out with little Bow Wow.
But it's going to be interesting because is Han there? Because remember, he thinks he's dead. And Han's like a mentor to him.
Ooh, I think we'll see.
That's the big thing.
We'll see them reunite.
That's the big thing.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
All right, Jake Berlin, you're answering for these two.
Oh, God.
It says, it said, hold up. Oh, this is from Mikey Boo. It says, I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. It says, hold up. What's wrong with Too Fast, Too Furious? Because you said Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Terrible. Look, okay. The racing aspect is cool, but like, come on. It's terrible. It's just bad. Like, look, I get it. It's where we meet Ludacris, right? Ludacris is in that movie for the first time. Brian and Tyrese is in there for the first time. We meet him. But the problem that I have the most with it is that Tyrese and the Tyrese we know now are two completely different characters. If we would have stayed with the Tyrese we have in Too Fast, Too Furious, I'd be fine with it. Because that's like a hardened, like, got out of jail badass. Like, he's a dude that you don't want to mess with.
Yeah.
This Tyrese is a wuss. Like, he's a massive wuss.
Well, they turned him into comic relief.
And it sucks. And, like, the driving aspect is cool. We meet Eva Mendes in the movie. But, like, out of all of the movies, this is the one that matters the least. Like, it really does. Like, it's not necessary. It's just like a side off for Brian O'Connor because they tried to go with him. And it worked. Like, I'll watch the movie, but it's just, to me, it's the worst one, personally.
Okay. Well, then.
I know a lot of people disagree with me because they think Tokyo Drift is the worst one. I, for one, think Tokyo Drift is kind of cool.
Actually, we got a bunch of those were saying, like, finally people like Tokyo Drift.
I think Tokyo Drift's cool.
Me too.
Like, I do. Like,
I
love the drifting aspect. And I remember there being a Need for Speed game that was called Need for Speed Tokyo Drift. And, like, love that stuff, man.
And then our very last one by Brian Krim says, I loved Fate of the Furious.
Even worse. Oh, no, that's not what I said. I said the Fate of the Furious is the worst one, then Too Fast, Too Furious is the second worst one.
Yeah.
The Fate of the Furious is the worst one. Real quick, Keith chimed in again. He said, Cena will team up and crack open an ice-cold Corona at backyard barbecue at the end.
Probably.
But remember, that house is blown up. That house got blown up.
Somewhere else.
In the Fate of the Furious, I think was what it got, or Furious 7, I think is when it got blown up by Charlize Theron. So, or no, it wasn't Charlize Theron. Who was it? Furious 7? I don't know who's the villain of Furious 7. There's so many of them.
It wasn't. Was Charlize Theron?
She was Fate of the Furious. Yeah. Who was the villain of Furious 7? That was the last Brian O'Connor one.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, there's so many of them.
Yeah. It wasn't Jason Statham, was it?
No.
It was Jason
Statham. No, it was Jason Statham.
Oh, you're right. It was Jason Statham. Yeah. He blew up the house. He blew up the house. That's right.
And that's right. That's when he kills Han at the beginning.
Yes. Okay. Good call. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's you're just not gonna.
Alrighty, well, that's gonna wrap it up for Apocaflix Now. Thank you for all the fans in the comment section joining us.
Keith.
Thank you, Keith.
One Keith Barnes.
And we have someone said hello at the very beginning. Saffron off IL said hello at the very beginning.
Saffron.
Hello there.
I still from
No, don't ever say that again. Just kidding. All right, well, thank you all for watching. I am Jacob Bartley. This is Brian Avolicino. That is Jake Berlin. This is Apocaflix Now. Please subscribe to us if you have not yet. Leave us a comment in the comment section, and we might read it on next week's show. You never know. And also, again, for the third time, check us out tomorrow. We are going to be watching the Oscars live and reacting. It's going to be fun. There's going to be some upsets. And
We have tally sheets too.
We have our ballots.
It's going to be a blast. Thanks again. See y'all next time.